Well, I may not quite be the latest Bond girl material, but Terry Hatcher, you can eat your heart out, because I'm about to get a sneak preview of the car that could well be James Bond's latest set of wheels. So what is it? Well, its name is the Vantage, and it's an Aston Martin. And if there's any justice at all in this world, this should be the car that lures James Bond away from the Germans and back behind the wheel of what, after all, is traditionally his favourite marque. From first glance, it seems to me to have so much heritage. It's really evolutionary rather than revolutionary. Is that what you're trying to do? Is the marque very important to you?
Yeah, we've tried to take some of the classic Aston themes and refresh them and restate them in a modern way. And I'm glad you think we've succeeded.
You're obviously working in a close partnership with Ford, and how much of their technology will go into this? Because it's a fast, high-performance thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but we're not going to make it. This is a concept, and we're going to use it as a rolling laboratory. But the answer to your question is Ford have helped us tremendously. We already work on the DB7 with Ford in the area of electronics, composite materials, engine, and gearbox. So we get a tremendous amount of support. What Ford get is that we can demonstrate technology on a car which is low volume and sells worldwide. So if you like, we can be a technology demonstrator for them. So it's a good partnership. I'm sorry, it's a good partnership.
Yeah, it is, it's important. So what about some of the statistics then? Because it's a real high performance vehicle, isn't it?
Well, we haven't driven it that hard yet, and we've done very few miles, but what we can do, because we've got very good software, is that we can predict this car will exceed 200 miles an hour, and the 0 to 60 time will be around 4 seconds. Standing quarter in about, well, I don't know, exit the standing quarter at 140 miles an hour. So it should be quick enough for most of our customers.
There's a very strong motorsport influence there, and I believe that Jackie Stewart's Grand Prix team have been involved along the way. Is that true?
Well, the technology we share, the main technology is probably the paddle shift. So you can actually change gear by working paddles on the steering wheel without taking your hand off the wheel. So it's good for safety as well as for very fast gear changes.
This is a big boy's toy, isn't it, Bob?
To some degree, all Astons are big boys' toys in the sense that they're for people who are successful, who are modern, who are international, and who love quality things. So yes, if you want to describe it that way, yes.
Of course, one of the real British icons who loves his big boys' toys is James Bond. Do you think this could be the car that would lure him back into an Aston? Which is, come on, it's what he belongs in, really, isn't it?
I'd love to for him to drive this car in the next Bond film, but we'll have to see.
Would you let him drive the concept?
Well, if the price was right, I guess we'd have to.
James Bond, if you don't take that offer up, you must be absolutely mad. And what a job to be faced with, though, designing a new vehicle for Aston Martin. Is something that incredibly daunting to a designer, or is it like the exciting dream job?
It's both, really. I mean, it's extremely daunting because you have a huge responsibility. It's got to be right. You know, you can't blow it. It's got to be absolutely right. And the chance to design cars like this happens so seldom that you have to make the most of it. But it's extremely exciting. I mean, to get the job to design a two-seater sports car is every designer's dream. It's every schoolboy's dream. And when you get the chance to do it, it's a wonderful feeling. But you have to work very, very hard at it because, as I said, at the end of the day, you have to portray the spirit that you feel when you're actually producing it. And it's so easy to lose that. So it's,
There's so much talk today about cars being designed by computer, it's all high-tech. I mean, how much of that is really true? Or does it come from within and it's inspirations from around you or the heritage of the marque?
well, I mean, we use computers an awful lot in the process of designing cars, but the spirit of any design has to come from the designer. It has to come from the heart and the mind. It has to come from the influences. It has to come from the heritage of the car itself. So the computers, I say, it's used very much as a tool. It's a means to an end. And we do use the computer for verification. We use it for clarifying some of the digitized surfaces, etc. But the initial sketches that we do are pencil and paper, and sometimes in the back of an envelope. I mean, the literally is that pure.
Can I have one?
One of the cars or one of the sketches?
One of the sketches will do.
I don't know where they've all gone. They seem to disappear into the ether after a while. We've got about 3 left, I think.
You were very lucky because you've created the DB7 as well,
Yes.
which is a stunning,
Yes.
wonderful, and has been a great success story. What about something like this where it's a concept and everybody say, oh, it's not going to be made, it's, it could look like this, it couldn't. Is there a bit of, you obviously would love to see this vehicle go into production?
Absolutely, but there's no plan at the moment to make it. What I've got to do is to make it so irresistible that somewhere along the line somebody turn around and say, yes, let's make this. But at the moment there are no plans. When we design the car, I design a car very much from a pragmatic point of view. I mean, it's a very emotive thing, but I got to understand how it's going to be made, roughly the volumes a car like this would be made in. So it's very important that I design it in a way, from my point of view, much as anything else, that I know it's going to work. This car, for instance, is completely legal, whereas a lot of show cars, you could actually find areas where they're illegal. So just details like that, and also the construction of this car is very important. We know how it's put together. It's got a very advanced process of construction, chassis construction, suspension construction. So all that stuff is real, and it makes the car so much more beautiful, knowing what's underneath it.
One of the first people to drive the new Aston Martin concept was Jacques Nasser, president of the Ford Automotive Group.
Well, it was just a dramatic shock to me. It was mouth-watering to see the tautness of the body, and it was parked right beside the DB7, which I think is one of the most wonderful designs on wheels today in the automotive industry, and yet it just made the DB7 look a little soft, not as dramatic as I'm used to seeing it. So it was quite a sensation for me to see it, just as we went over the hill, and there it was in the little parking spot waiting for us. It was a wonderful sight.